So tell us those stories. There's something that is not making you happy today in the papers.
There really is. Like I said, I'll work on my my feelings and separating things. But there's something very grim in the papers today on page 3, and I highlighted it briefly at the top of the hour. 3 men vanish without a trace from Mukuru. Families in informal settlement living in fear as they wonder who will be next. And very briefly, it says, that right now in Mukuru, the air is heavy with whispers, fear, and questions. In a chilling pattern, and I think this is what is chilling, men are disappearing after leaving their homes as if they've stepped out for a moment. Here's what's more chilling. Their phones left behind, doors locked. And so they've left a lot of questions in their wake, a lot of families shattered. There's a wonderful young lady here who gives her account. She said at around 8 p.m. on January 19th, Vincent, her husband, 27-year-old, kissed his 1-month-old baby goodbye, pulled on his favorite hoodie, slipped on a pair of open shoes, and stepped out of the single room he shared with his wife. He didn't carry his phone. He left it charging, and he never came back. And she thought, she said she left the food on the stove. She knew he's coming back, he'll have dinner, we'll put our baby to bed, and we'll hang out. And, it's very poetic how she's like, that just never happened. I had to turn off the stove, put the baby to bed, but now it's been weeks, and there's no answer. But it's chilling because it speaks to, you don't want to think of the worst, but your mind goes there. It's this association of disappearances, young men, then it speaks to social anxiety. Is it crime? Is it depression? Is it something more sinister?
What's the story of the other 2?
The other 2...
So this is Vincent.
Yeah, this is Vincent. The other 2 haven't been profiled in detail. In fact, she also says he was very soft-spoken and kept things to himself. She highlighted that more than once.
I think they have.
On page 3, 3 men, troubling. The others, then there's Deborah Mwika of Kaloki, the 50-year-old's pain of her son's disappearance. Her 19-year-old son, David Mutua, vanished on November 2nd, 2024. My son is normally so jovial, she says, her voice filled with anguish. David, who lives with autism, left their home in Mukuru. And this is the second young man, I think, or boy, who also has left and disappeared, and he's autistic. Right. So it really just begs the question. And this
bringing out issues. Let me.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me read for you the story. So we've talked about the first one was Vincent Oluoch, who 8 p.m. 19th of January disappears. All right. Then there's 6th of February in the evening when Michael Juguna Gatonye, 32 years old, asked for warm water to bathe after the day's work, like he always did. At around midnight, he sat in the living room doing a transaction on his mobile phone while his wife Milka went to put their 2-year-old daughter to sleep. She says, I left him there. We ran a small shop and he was paying for the day's supplies as he charged his phone. But when she returned to the living room, he was gone. His phone was still charging. The door was locked. The keys hung at the usual place. She could not understand what happened. And since then, he has not been seen. I mean, you ask yourself, so
what happened?
Yeah. What's going on? How did he just get up? We are in the same house.
Right.
You've left him in the living room. He's charging his phone. He's making transactions. Then you don't even hear him opening the door, leaving. He's left his phone. He has stepped out. He has locked. I mean, the door has been...
Never to be seen again.
Never to be seen again.
And that's the pattern with the 3 of them.
Yeah.
And I think it's part of our responsibility on platforms like this is to raise the alarm on issues like this. Is advocacy, is to say we need independent investigations. We also need to seek out if there are deeper issues that are affecting young men, and if there are there safe spaces for them to talk about it? Like I said, it's hard to cast assumptions. Everybody's experience could be different. Here it's strange because there is a pattern where they left their phone. Did they mean to leave and not come back? Did they just leave their phone because they knew that they were coming back? Right. It's just very hard, and hopefully we can continue to probe this and speak to the family and have investigations and follow through. I think one of the things that we need to push for is that follow through. I don't know if somebody mentioned that on this platform at some point, which is we need to stop opening an investigation And then the news cycle and another news cycle, and then 3 months later, you haven't gone back to follow up on what happened. But really, it's to speak to these complex layers of issues. What is it? Is it crime? Is it psychology? Is it something more sinister?
All of them combined.
Is it all of them combined?
Probably the case, because there has been an increase in missing persons case, but I don't want to again conflate visibility and actual, numbers. Are people reporting missing persons more, especially since June, when it became it's no longer normal for someone to just disappear? Not that it ever was, but you understand what I mean, to give it a sort of national outlook. So is that what's happening, that we're now more aware of how many people go missing, just never to come back, especially young men? Or is it genuinely there is an increase, there's a problem there? So then is it a crime problem? Is it a mental health problem? Is it all of them combined together? There's a lot of questions. Are we the right people to ask as well? What do we have as far as the tracking of missing persons is concerned, right? Especially a lot of cases of young men will be easily dismissed at first. Ametoka tu atarudi, you know boys, men, na. But it's not always the case. After how long is it considered a missing persons case?